Hi, it's another Elektron today. Someone sent this to me. It's not booting. It hangs on the boot screen as far as I know. I already tried factory reset, another power supply, stuff like that. But let's see what happens. People on the internet suggest there are some flat cables inside the device that need to be reseated. Maybe that's it, and it's a quick fix. I don't know. But first, let's check the power supply, just to be sure. That's where it all starts, right? I think it's time that power supplies get a better kind of lead, like the type of stuff that you get with good multimeters, like silicone or whatever it is, because this is just no fun. There. It should be, is it 6 volts DC? And does it say anything about center pin? Center positive. It's a little hard to read, but the symbol is here, and it says 6 volt here. Well, it's not too hard, is it? So DC, let's put the multimeter. It was still in the amp range, the amp socket. So it should be center positive. Now that's 6.1, so that's good enough. It's switching power supply, so won't change a lot on the load. So that's fine. Let's get this one out. It's off. DC in, boots, and it stops flashing. There's a firmware number. Whoa. I gave it a gentle tap on the power button. And it's obviously haven't been booted fully after the factory reset, because it's unpacking the factory default. So it's very important that it doesn't turn off now. So let's not touch it. Loading samples. And there it is. It booted. Can I manage to make it? It's not the DC jack. It's not a loose. It's still on. All I did was give it a tap on here, a gentle tap, and then it suddenly booted. Let's see what happens if we turn it off. Turn it back on. It boots just fine. Why on earth do I get these strange repairs where there's nothing actually broken? Let's try it again, because he sent it to me telling me that it can't and it's not booting. Maybe it was just something stuck in the power connector. but I cannot seem to reproduce the problem. Is just fine. Oh, there it goes. It's not just fine. Well, this surely suggests loose contact, because it's working now. It's time to open it up. Give me a sec while I'll undo all the stuff. You do need a Torx driver for these screws, but you can find those anywhere. Give me a sec. Right, so here it is. On this particular module, this screw just wouldn't come out, and just kept on turning, and later I remembered there's actually a standoff all the way down. In the other Electrons you had a screw on the bottom side you can use to counter screw so that you can unscrew the top. But these are bolted to the bottom, so afterwards you have to get the standoff from the PCB board, put it back down, otherwise you cannot the standoff just spin along with the screw, which makes it really difficult to get off. And on one hand these devices are really awesome, on the other end there's some, yeah, it's like on any machine, I guess. So yeah, there's really short flat wires underneath. And what I like to do is, because I don't want to, when I'm gonna replace the potentiometers, I'm not afraid to pull on them, but these are gonna stay in. They are a little bit wonky already, but this machine is pretty new, so they're gonna stay in for now. So what I do is I put it on the bottom, and then I can have a peek inside to see where the flat cables are. And I'm not sure but you can see some short wires over there. They are socketed, so you cannot take them out the wrong way or put them back the wrong way. Here we go. And there's always the big one on this corner, but it's easier now to get in because so this is the user interface board. It also says right here. It makes sense. This is the user interface. I always do a quick visual inspection. Here you can see the standoff that we have to remove and put back in the bottom before we continue. Let's do that right now. I'm gonna need something to hold this for me, and what I like to use is my Dremel vise. Choose a random corner. A bit lower. Will this fit? Yep, this will do it. So on the one side, take my screwdriver, and on the other side, I need to use a nut driver. Do I have this size? Yep. Now it's just a matter of there's the screw. I always keep everything in the box. The good thing is that these are all the same size, all the same length. If they're not, you have to make a sort of system where you can memorize where each length goes. But that's not important in this case. I'm gonna put this aside for now. Here's the standoff, and here's the mount where it's supposed to go. So just put it back like that. Tie it up. And supposedly these flat cables could be responsible for the fact that that it's not booting. They should be reseated. Can you see this? Stuff like this that I really like. You can tell that one jack, input A, is actually can you see that? Can you see that this one is not a crooked? Could be that it was already like that from the factory. Looks like it. They do have some info on here regarding what voltages there should be. But these connectors are really hard to measure in circuit. It would be nice that there would be more information, like what's coming from here. Is it 5 volt and ground? And what's coming from here? R and T. It says, what does it all mean? Well, it is already a factory reset, so there's no harm in it was actually quite a fight to get this one out. But let's see what it says. Plus on this side. It's still 3.03. So it should still do the trick. Let's see if we can measure some voltages. So let's turn it on. Measure 6.1 on here. And is this something that I can measure? Yes. So it says plus here, and I measure 3.3. It says minus here. There's nothing over there. This should be 5 volts. This is all clear. It measures 4.9. Then it should be 0. It is. And then it's V plus. So there's an 8 volt rail and an 8 minus rail. This is probably for the audio stuff for the op amps, I presume, and I think the 3.3 is for the processor here. This minus rail and the 5-volt. Seems alright. It's steady, it's not fluctuating. So, yeah. Let's release all the connectors inside and reseat them. Put the thing back together and see what happens when we turn it on, and if we can replicate the problem. I also have some dioxide which we could use on the connectors, but only if it's necessary. First I'm going to get the compressor and clean out some of the dust. There's also that's just for the connector. The power button. So it looks just fine. They hot snotted the ferrite band to one side. Interesting. No, which way? Was it this way? Was it that way? That's one of the reasons why I videotape stuff like this. So give me a moment while I replay the video. Well, it should be like this, but I'm actually when I put it up, it's a really tight fit. I can't imagine that it's something like that there was no loose contact in here. No. Everything feels solid. So let's put the front cover back on, or the control board, and see what happens. Do the same technique. Put it on its side. I guess you can only see my head while I'm doing this. Okay, check, double check. This all looks good. right? That's one. Yeah, of course, because we removed the battery. So it's back to factory default. I actually start to believe that it's the connector. If I it needs a very gentle tap to disrupt power for a brief moment, and then do we have audio? Phones. This one is still working. It's not jumping around. See that? Doesn't take a lot to what happens? Because if you perform live, that's what happens with your gear. But yeah, the power button is really what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take a closer look at the power button and see if there's maybe it needs to be replaced, because it's not maybe the spring, there's probably some kind of spring loaded thing in there. Maybe it's just a little bit unhappy. Come on. That's right. You always start with this side. I always start with this side. No. This one's much easier. Things change when the camera is rolling. I've actually never looked at the power button before. I'm not sure if we can get inside. I'm gonna mark this connector because I want to put it back exactly the same, obviously. I just need my favorite pen. Yep. Here it is. And I can see a little thingy over here. It's really tight fit. Let me get some light in there. There it goes. It does look a little corroded, like the contacts are sort of rusty. Maybe at one point there was a humid environment. Not sure if you can see that, but you can see the like sort of goldish dust. It's actually coming. Oh, they look okay. I'm trying to see if there's like a serviceable hole where I can spray some deoxit inside. There are two. Sorry, completely off camera. There are two holes, but it's just to hold the lever. And as far as I can see, there's no way to get inside. The soldering looks fine. Yeah, I could try to get the leveraging part out, but I'm not sure what happens after that. If this is something that you can put back together. It feels a bit smushy. Could very well be that the contacts are not clean anymore. Is there a way I can measure that? Like to see how reliable it is. Yeah, I feel there's actually some dust underneath, like maybe it was turned off for a long time. A lot of dust settled on the top of the lever, and then whenever you push it, you push the dust in, because there's one side where it's actually quite dusty. So I've been looking online for some replacement buttons, because this is obviously pretty standard. Give me a sec. And yes, these are widely available in different form factors, in different shapes and different kinds, and illuminated and unilluminated, obviously. But then I noticed one of the specifications for all these buttons is the contact resistance, and I thought, oh, that's something that I can measure with this switch, because if it's corroded, if there's something wrong, then presumably the contact resistance would go up as well. So a lot of these switches have a contact resistance of 100 milliohms maximum, and it's in the on position. And let's see what we measure here from pole to pole. 80 milliohms, so that's within spec on this side. And if we turn it around, it's also 80 milliohms within spec. So to me that suggests that there's not a lot of oxidation on the contact now. And I'm trying to replicate. See, it doesn't take a lot of. I'm gently pushing on the lever from here. Let's put everything back together again. Yeah, it all seems just fine. Somehow every time I want to do a video for repair, there's not much to repair. So, well, keep trying. Some people on the internet were afraid that there was a humidity problem within their machine drum because they found this white residue, but that's actually from soldering in the wave flow machine. It has nothing to do with regular use. Not at all. Yep. Yeah. This button is just a little finicky. So I'm gonna suggest to him to replace it, because this is what you get when the power is interrupted very briefly during power up. It stays on the screen, and that's probably what he saw. You can also hear a crackling on the speaker when I it looks to me that the spring mechanism is either a little bit worn out, maybe because it's been in the same position for a very long time. There could be one reason. Some people leave switches in the on position all the time and kill the main power. That's how I use my studio. I just have one main switch and kills everything. Other people keep using the button, and some buttons even, I'm not sure if these have the same thing, but I once had an Evolver from Dave Smith, and some of the push buttons were getting unresponsive. So I emailed to Dave Smith, and he said, well, these are self-cleaning push buttons, so just press them like 300 times and they should work again. And he was right. You just keep pressing it 300 times, and then any residue, any oxidation would get scraped off and it would fall out or something like that, and the button worked again. So yeah, regular use of a button is actually not a bad idea. Okay, before I put all this back together, I'm gonna contact the guy and suggest a replacement of the power switch. Just why not replace it, right? I found one on Farnell. It's only €3, excluding shipping. So I'm not sure what that's gonna be. And it's actually exactly the same switch. Yeah, replace it. This is what I'm gonna suggest. So that's it for now. I'm gonna put this in a safe place and I'm gonna contact the owner. I received a new power switch today and I'm gonna replace the old one with the new one. And since there's a certain way these two are wired, I want to make sure I wire it up exactly the same way. So I'm gonna use some heat shrink to mark two of the leads. Doesn't really matter which one, but one of each side, so I know to which side they belong. But I'll show you in a minute. Yeah, first of all, it's just a matter of desoldering. I'm not sure if these are bend through. We'll see in a minute. And otherwise we can just always cut them off and strip some wire, because there was actually some overlength. Let's check that for sure. Yeah, it's not much, but if necessary I can make the leads a little shorter. First I'm going to do one side of the connector and use some heat shrink to mark the wires. Yeah, this is the right tip. First I'll add some leaded solder. There we go, that's one. That's two. And I'll take two little pieces heat shrink. Turn on the hot air. And before it's just a precaution. You can actually tell that they're wired both in the same way, but I just want to be sure. This is a little thick, isn't it? A little wide. So I'm gonna take some smaller ones. So in the on side is on the top, so there's actually on the new one there's a marking, and it's convenient for me to know where the marking is, so we wire it up the same way. Let me just test this fit of this one. Yeah, and it's a nice fit. Didn't test it before, but it's good. But yeah, as you can see, there's a marking. This one doesn't. It should be wired in the same way internally. They really are the same. So we have that. That's the old one in with the new one. There is a little difference. The new one has these dividers, which obviously makes sense in a high power application. This is not, but yeah, it shouldn't make a difference. I believe the ratings are the same actually. Not sure if you can tell. 10 amp, yeah, they're both 10 amps, 250 AC. So why this one does have the separators and this one doesn't, I don't know. Maybe this one was cheaper for Elektron. But we have this one, so I'm going to use this one. I'm just looking for a way that I like how this sits. Always do one side first and then reheat the other side once the other side is attached, because it will no longer spin around. Just to keep it in place. Cool. And now for the other side, I prefer to do it like this because the solder will not flow downwards. Here we have it. Sorry about it. Can you see it? I hope you can. There. Still shiny. I like that. There we go, the other side. Too much. Now just want to reflow the other side. It's actually a little bit too much solder on there, but I'm not gonna bother taking it away. Just want to be sure there's no cracks in the tin in this joint. This looks good. Let's give it a test if I didn't ruin the switch. So for continuity, it's in the on position. It's resistance. It's actually really good. There it is. Yeah. It was human error. So now to put it back in and see if it works again. I like that. Well, this should all be exactly the same as before. Fingers crossed. Don't want to screw this. It would cost me a lot of money to screw this up. The V minus reads -8, +8, 0, should be 5, should be minus, should be a plus. This all looks hunky-dory. There's power on all parts. Yep. Let's put it together. So we throw this one out before I use it again. whenever I put the screws back in, I try to spread from the inside out, so you can feel when it's not aligned, because you will be pushing a corner down. If you start from one corner, it's much more difficult to detect. Yeah, I don't like the alignment on this, not at all. So why? It's this same one. It's giving me trouble. There. Lint-free. Wait. You have to be careful to check the alignment of all the LEDs before you push it down, and then there should be like tiny little gap on the sides. And it's always the same, it's a little bit more gap in the middle. There it is. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but it's bumping along. So that's it for this fix. Yeah, this is much better. Well, that wraps it up. Let's send it back so it can be played again. Thanks for watching.